Good afternoon and welcome to Breaking Fry Bread. I'm Dave. This is Ty. Good afternoon, Ty. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding.
You looking sharp?
I try to be the host with the most. I try
The
to
hostess with
be
the mostest.
That's
Yep.
right. That's right. I try to be the ladies' pet, the men regret. The
Yeah.
faster you throw it in, the quicker it's going out.
Keep them rolling, man. Keep them rolling.
That's right. That's right. We can do that all day long, man. We can do that all day long. I try to be everything I'm supposed to be. A
And then
role
some.
model, a leader, you know, I'm trying to do everything that I'm supposed to be. So
You got to
yeah,
look
man, I'm
good while
doing
you're doing it
outstanding.
too.
Right? You want to be classy. You want to be
Yeah.
world class. You want to dress like $1 million. If I want $1 million from you and I'm looking all scrubbed up, am I going to get $1 million from you?
Likely not. Highly
Mm-mm.
unlikely. Not for me.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. One of the things I learned early on, being an entrepreneur, being a young entrepreneur, and I remember, being 25, 26, and by the way, that's young, right? 25, 26, and I remember going to people's houses, and I remember, I got to get $100,000 checks, $50,000 checks. They've got to literally write a check and hand it to me for the job I'm going to do on their house. Do they want the guy who has got holes in his jeans and smells like an oil stain? And you know, they don't like. It's harder to close that job. But when you look
Right.
professional and you look sharp and you walk the walk and you talk the talk, it's there. Because you know what? Everybody is always judging us. Everybody's judging you. Everybody's judging me. They're making opinions. They're forming opinions within seconds. And they're saying, I either like this guy or I don't.
That's what it's all about. If you're not being authentic and you have the whole same sales pitch and scheme, people are going to read right through it.
Read right through it. Do you ever meet somebody you instantly don't like?
It's usually somebody that I can read right through and see the bullshit.
That's right, man. You can instantly don't like. There's people that I run into that I instantly do not like. I'm just like, yep, I don't like you.
Yeah, come in with a bad energy, a bad vibe. First impression is everything.
That's
And
right.
that's it starts with how you dress. Then it goes from there.
So the thing about being native is that you know what I love. This is what I love about being native. I love the headdress. I love the ceremonial headdress. I love this. I love the color. I love the feathers. I love the beadwork. I love the panache. You think of a native warrior, maybe he's on his horse, standing tall and strong, feathers in the hair, weapon in hand. That's a strong man, looking the best. Maybe he's got some war paint on. I don't know what's going on. I wasn't there. I only know what I see in the pictures and the movies. But at the end of the day, like there's a pride. There's a pride that I see, in my opinion, that a native takes in the way that they dress and the way that they look. You know what I mean? Like a pride in who you are. The beadwork is so extensive. I bought a painting from a famous Native American painter, and he hand carves all of the frames. And on each frame, there's maybe 10,000 beads that he's carved into this thing, man. It's absolutely incredible. Big paintings. And the paintings go for $10,000, $20,000. Just like that. He's an old guy. He's not doing very many more. He actually called me the other day. He's not doing very many more paintings. His hands are getting old, and he can't do the bead work. He can't carve the beads into the frames anymore. And he said, this painting, putting this together, this might take me 100 hours. Building the frame might take me 500 hours. He said, I want you to think about that when you buy this from me. Because he said, this is my blood, sweat, and tears, and it's some of the most beautiful artwork you ever see, at least in my opinion, And I love that pride. I love the pride. I think that's what it's all about, man. I want to represent myself. I want to represent my ancestors. I want to represent my parents and my grandparents well. Take pride in who I am. Not pride in a way that's like, oh gosh, that guy's such a jerk. You know what I mean? Right. But just represent myself well.
Yeah, represent your culture, represent yourself. It's that self-expression. Just like the artist you're talking about, he puts a lot of his self. Obviously, he's putting hundreds of hours into that frame, into that painting, into the beadwork. It's much like a native with their regalia. I don't know if you've seen it up close, but there's a lot of hours that go into the cuffs, the moccasins, the the arm sleeves, the headdress, everything. It's beautiful work, and it's all about, our people want to express themselves proudly and our culture and the strength, that our culture represents, and we represent that on a daily basis in our everyday walk of life. So I know exactly what you mean.
It's a special way to live. It means you stand for something. My kids can say, hey, I'm a Wescott. What? You can say you want some, or you can say whatever you want, but you take pride in who you are. I love that. You mentioned the regalia, and this is graduation season.
There's a ton of graduations going on, man.
It's crazy.
Just had theirs. Yeah,
it's crazy. Graduation season. I feel like people have gone extra crazy this year on the graduations. Everywhere you go, flowers are sold out, buildings are packed, there's traffic everywhere. It's just a nightmare. But take pride in that graduation.
Yeah, I mean, they're even celebrating kindergarten graduation, first grade graduation, second grade. When I was a kid, we didn't celebrate a graduation till sixth grade. So
I don't even remember celebrating sixth grade. So you know what, man? I don't even know. I think sometimes we take it a little too far. I think in our culture today, we as parents, and I'm not saying that I do this or that you do this, but I'm saying as the accumulative parent, we try to take disappointment away from our kids. You know what I mean? We try to make everything right. I think disappointment is important. I think it's important to be disappointed. I think it's important to lose. When you lose, you know that you never want to feel that way again. When you're disappointed, you do whatever it takes to win. I'll tell you this, I love playing cards. I love playing dominoes. I love playing all these games. I will never let my kids win. I will crush them into the earth until they die.
You can't let them win.
No, because they got to know that even dad isn't going to give you anything. You're going to have to work and fight for everything. We're getting into some serious parenting right here. We may have taken it down a path that's not breaking fry bread, but maybe it is breaking fry bread. I don't know. But we got to, so there's a little travesty going on, and that's the native kids who are graduating from high school not being able to, wear the regalia that they want to wear. What's going on with that?
it seems like we're dealing with this every year in our community. I know it's going on across all of Indian country. We have if I have a niece or nephew graduating, in a public school other than our tribal school here, there's always an issue when it comes to graduation time and them wanting to express themselves with the beaded cap, a graduation cap, and then an
Yep.
eagle feather. That's pretty traditional for our indigenous people who are in public schools or in any school. It's a huge milestone in our life, and it's like a ceremony for us. And many of them have been gifted these graduation caps that are made out of cedar with beaded eagle feathers, and they're being told that they can't wear them. And not only are they being told they can't wear them, if they do wear them, they're being confiscated. Like what happened to that young lady in New Mexico. She kind of went viral with that video. Someone caught video of them actually confiscating her beaded cap, and the Secretary of Interior, Debbie Haaland, actually stepped in and made a statement regarding that.
Yeah, that's wrong. I believe that's wrong, especially if they, let little Muslim kids wear their little hijab, right? I think that's what it's called. I may have pronounced it incorrectly. Did I pronounce that incorrectly, Ralph? Hijab, thank you. Yeah. I'm not saying there's anything right or wrong about it, but I'm just saying that it should be equal.
Yeah, everybody should be able to express themselves culturally, whether you're indigenous or whether, you're Hispanic or,
Or you're
however.
Jewish and you got the little
Jewish.
the yarmulke, right? Did I get that one right? Yeah.
I'm not saying only indigenous deserve to express themselves. It should be everybody should be able to express themselves equally, especially when you think about the history of Indian boarding schools and like how far we've come from that. What was the purpose of Indian boarding schools? Was to assimilate the indigenous people, to take them from their families, put them in schools, and try to colonize them, right? Try to teach them their ways, force their ways on them, right? Obviously, there's no schools like that anymore, but when you see actions like this from the schools, taking away their rights to express their cultural, regalia or beaded or feathers or, all that, it's kind of hints of history coming back. And we deal with it every year. So they're going to have to address this at the federal level and put some guidance in place so that these schools, stop doing this to our students.
Yeah, that's true. I agree 100%. I think it's a sad thing. It needs to stop for sure.
I will say on the flip side of this, there are many public schools in our area on the Puyallup Tribe who recognize they are on ancestral Puyallup tribal land. And at their ceremony and their graduation ceremonies, they actually do a land acknowledgement to the Puyallup Tribe, which is a huge honor.
Cool.
Which is a huge honor. So we're making strides in the right direction, but there's still a lot of work to do.
Yeah, there is a lot of work to do. That's good stuff. Tough stuff.
It is. It's and you try to look at the flip side of it, where what's the school's reasons why we don't want these kids to express themselves culturally? Well, the only reason I could see doing research, the only statement that they've given is that it breaks the school dress code. So we're worried about breaking a school dress code rather than discriminating against indigenous people or minorities to be able to express their culture. This just doesn't make sense. Sounds like a lot of personal vendettas. It's a lot of wasted time when you think about it, because they resist against it every year, especially here in Washington. I could speak for the Puyallup Tribe, and I know that our lobbyist for the Puyallup Tribe has had to go to bat with many public schools around our area for our tribal kids, and he's been successful. So
Yep.
it's, but it's something that we deal with every year. This time of year, you hear about it, and I just don't know. Hopefully, we get to a place where they stop, taking the regalia from the kids, stop, confiscating, and allow kids to wear what they want.
I agree. I'm
Culturally
100% on
speaking,
board.
culturally speaking.
Yeah, yeah, I'm 100%. I'm 100% on board. What else? What else is going on? What else is hot in Indian country?
Well, kids are graduating now. School is out. The sun's out.
We got per
Kids are turning
capita.
kids are
Yep.
turning 18. And it's publicly known that we are a per capita tribe, and our kids get a decent chunk of change when they turn 18. And I thought we could touch on that a little bit. As we have kids that are going to be turning 18 here soon, that have been all year. Just smart ways to financially invest that money,
Yeah,
right? There's been a lot of
absolutely.
horror stories. There's been a lot of horror stories with the kids at 18 getting that big chunk of money, and the vultures that are around them waiting for them to get that money. The drug dealers that are lurking nearby. Sometimes there's family members that are waiting to attack. I just needs to be more financial education. I know the tribe does have some financial education. I know that we have educated folks around the tribe that have made themselves available to help talk with tribal individuals about things that they can do, right, with that 18 money. We talk about mutual funds or um, investing, and I thought, since we have uh, a smart person like yourself hosting the show, I thought maybe you could maybe shed some light and maybe some guidance and talk about this a little bit.
Yeah, that's well, thank you. I'm gonna have some fun with it. I think first and foremost, when you do get the money, I do believe that it is important to do something fun with the money. Okay. I'm gonna come right out and say that, like, I think you should take a portion of that money and you should do something to enjoy yourself. I'm not saying go crazy with it. I'm not saying that you blow it. Definitely not. But I think there's a percentage, 1%, 2%, something like that. A small percentage that you set aside, you think about it and you do something special. Maybe it's a trip to Disneyland, maybe it's a trip to Hawaii, maybe it's a car, I don't know, whatever it is, but you take a little bit of that and maybe you do something, because I think it's important in life to celebrate. I do believe that's important.
That's pretty
And
common. That's pretty common for the kids. That's usually the number one purchase is the dream car.
yeah.
And then there's with the plan to spend the rest smart, but then it's how that goes. If it's sitting in the bank,
Yeah.
money's burning a hole in your pocket.
I the dream car is different for all of us. I do believe that, but I think you make a payment on a car, you get a car, $8,000, $9,000. I'm not a big believer in going out and spending $40,000 on some wheels. You know what I mean? I'm not a big believer in this. But what I am a believer in is looking at your investment. And I think the number one investment, if I was to look back at every investment that I ever have made in my life, the number one investment that I have always made that has always turned out good, that has always been best, is the investment in real estate. I think for me, that is the number one most important thing. And I have 3 kids, and as they grow up and as we talk about, investing and what that looks like, I think that it's really, really, really important to look at your money in my opinion, the first 10% I give to the church. I give to God. That's my tithe. I give it away. And in fact, I try to give 15% away. That's my own personal motto that I live by. And then, second, I want to make sure that, a third of my money after that goes to bills. Like, I want to make sure that what I've got bill wise, okay, a third of my money is balanced out there. And then I want a third of my money to go to just life. Maybe I need some clothes. Maybe I want to go see a movie, whatever I want to do. And then I want to take that final third and it all goes into savings. That's how I deal with my paycheck. So like if I go to work, that's my mantra. When I go to my job here, that's how I break up my pay. Just like that. And then when I get extra money, like this big per capita check, if it's me coaching the kids, that's my real estate. That's my house. I would say the number one thing you do, in my opinion, just my opinion only, is go buy a house. If you can pay the whole thing off, pay it off. If you can't pay it all the way off, put the money into it so that the payment is so minimal. Because the thing about a house is that forever, as you live your life, it's the number one expense that just sucks. It's the number one expense that is just a pain. You look at the cost of rent. I get so many messages from people all the time. Renting an apartment in the little town of Monroe where I live at, $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. I mean, that to me is outstandingly crazy. That is so much money to throw away. And every single time that you pay rent, you are paying for somebody else's wealth. Remember that you are buying somebody else's financial freedom. And so if day one, if you invest into that home, that investment always comes back and you keep that home up, like that pride we're talking about. I'll never see a weed at my house. You'll never see the paint out of order at my house. You'll never see things not done perfectly at my house. Because I have pride, and I'm thankful to God for the gift. I don't even believe it's mine. I believe that I'm a steward of it for God. I'm a steward of it for that money. And I take that money and I invest it into the property, and you wait, and that money will increase in value, and it will increase in value. And at the same time, your bills are going down because now you don't have that rent. You don't have that mortgage. And what that means is that more money goes into the life. You can have better times. You can go on more trips. You can do more things. And more money goes into savings. If you want to retire, first of all, if you didn't have any per capita, if you didn't have any Indian money, and you were to retire today, and it was just you and your wife, no kids, would $70,000 a year give you the lifestyle that you want?
I think I could live off that.
You think you could live off that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
If my house is paid off.
If your house is paid off, yeah. $70,000 a year. I think that's pretty good too. Do you know that if you want to retire at the age of 60, not including inflation, not including any of that stuff, like at the end of the day, if you want to retire at 60 years old, which is 5 years earlier than like the national average. I want to say the last time I looked, the national average was 65, and the average age of death for men and women was 76. So like the average age of retirement is 65. Then you've got 11 years to basically do what you want. You work your tail off your entire life. You got 11 years left to live. And now, you're there. Now, let's say that you're going to live till you're 85, right? People are living for longer these days. Let's say you want to retire at 60. That means you got to have $2.7 million in the bank to live at $70,000 a year. You're not guaranteed per capita, so don't think that you're going to get your per capita check and your elder's check and your bonus check, because it's not
Right.
guaranteed.
Yeah. I mean, you saw it for COVID. Things could change in a heartbeat. You know, our casino was shut down for a month, and that was devastating to our economy. You know, so that should have been an eye opener to everybody that this money isn't forever. You know, you may think
That's
it is,
right.
but it could literally be gone tomorrow.
That's exactly right. So you got to save money, and it starts early. It starts young, and investing in that house is the biggest piece of your retirement, because if you take that off the plate, you're going to be taken care of pretty much for the rest of your life. There's not a lot the world can do to you if you own your own house. Second is my biggest belief is, when you get that money, go sit down with a wealth manager. Go sit down. Just because it says wealth manager doesn't mean you have to be wealthy. It doesn't mean millions of dollars. Sit down with a wealth manager. Talk about how you invest your funds. Right now, you can drop your money into a bank account called a Flourish account that makes 5% interest. If you put 400 grand into that account, you're going to profit $1,650 a month. Right now. That's just right now. If you drop that into the stocks, it's a little bit more tricky. Maybe you get 8, 9, 10% if you've got somebody good managing that. But at the end of the day, you've got the risk of the loss and so forth. It can be kind of stressful. But talk about that. Have a mixture of a Flourish account, a wealth management account, a piece of property that you own. Think about investing. And then my challenge is to any native out there who has any sort of per capita: don't spend $1 of your per capita on bills or life or savings for life in retirement. That's my philosophy. Don't use that money for bills, life, or retirement. Use that money primarily as an investment tool. If you think of, you get, your little check every month, and then you get your little bonus every year, and you save that up for a couple of years, now you've got an investment into another property. You've got a down payment. Then you get a renter to move into that property, and then they're paying the mortgage. And then you do it again, and now you've got a renter paying the mortgage. And then you do it again, and you've got a renter paying the mortgage. And if you do it right, in 9 years, you can have 3 houses paying somebody else paying the mortgage on it. And then you look at it, and 25 years go by, and now you've got 3 pieces of property, and maybe they're worth $1 million a piece. And now you've paid them off because someone else has paid them off, and now you got $3 million sitting there. That native money that you had, that per capita, that's just going to get blown on bubble gum and drugs and crack and, whatever else, the casino, whatever else you want to do. I'm not saying that that's what happens to all natives, that they don't flush their money down into those places. So no, there's no disrespect. But the truth of the matter is that if you don't invest that money, it's gone. You just waste it on stupid little things that don't matter. The kind of shoes you wear don't matter. The jackets you wear don't matter. The jewels and the watches you have don't matter. Invest first. And when you get older, you have financial freedom to do whatever you want. You can live an incredibly high quality of life. That's what I've got for you.
I love it. I just want to add to the housing part. I agree. Real estate is great. And through the tribe, we have a great program called the Set Aside Program. I don't even know if you knew about this, but let's say you're an 18-year-old and you want to buy a house. Well, now you bought the house. Or let's say you buy a fourplex, because you can still get an FHA loan through that fourplex.
Yep.
Okay. And this is kind of what I have going in my son's head. Now, him and his cousin, they're going to be 18 in a few years. This is kind of this is their vision. They want to go in on a fourplex together, live in one of them, right?
Yep.
Through the tribe Set Aside Program, you get $750 a month to help towards your mortgage. Well, take that $750, put it towards principal every year.
Yep.
That's
Absolutely.
70. That's $7,000. It's like $10,000 a year on your principal. Times 10 years. that's $100,000 in equity. You just, in 10 years, your house will be paid off in no
Super
time.
fast. Super
I mean,
fast.
it's crazy how fast $700 that you didn't even have to see it. You don't have, it just goes towards your principal, and that's a great way to build equity and get the deed in your hand, right?
That's what it's all about. And I love the fourplex. So like when I'm buying real estate today, I don't buy any single family units. I'll look at a fourplex. I want sixplex, eightplex, whatever, 12plex, whatever you can get. Because when you have one unit, if something goes wrong or there's a problem, you're still out 2 or 3 months getting it back listed and rented again. But when you have a fourplex, like you mentioned, if you lose a unit, it doesn't matter. Right? You're still making the rent. You're still making the mortgage. You're good. You lose 2 units, it doesn't matter. In fact, all my apartment buildings, I have apartment buildings from Seattle to Texas. And, during COVID, my rent collection was at like 50%. But do you know that didn't even impact me? Didn't bother me. The mortgage, the bills, the buildings were all taken care of, all paid. I didn't pay a dollar out of my own pocket because of the unit count. Right. Unit count is absolutely critical. And then when we were able to take advantage of the moratoriums and the government kickbacks, we were made whole on every dollar that we potentially lost. So had huge windfalls on those pieces of property. So real estate is, I believe, the number one biggest thing that I just believe in investing in for a young man, a young woman. You're graduating, put it into your house, take something you can take pride in, fix it up, make it beautiful, make it amazing. I love the idea of the fourplex. I hope that comes to fruition. I think that's absolutely incredible because you're going to flip that into an 8plex. That'll flip into a 12, 24plex. You put a 24plex out there, you've got generational wealth. Now you're building wealth for your grandkids, grandkids. That's Rockefeller money right there.
Yeah, and what I'm really happy to see with my kids and what my goal is to get their brains working in that entrepreneurial way, right? Like, I don't want them to not work for a living, but I don't want them to work for somebody else for their whole life. Right? I want them to work to gain experience with the end goal of being an entrepreneur, being an investor, and I want them to think in that way, and so hearing, we have these conversations in car rides all the time to and from practice, and to hear that my son and his cousin, who they're very close, have their own little business model going where they're talking about what they're going to do. That's awesome because that means I got their brains turning, and we're constantly talking about, okay, it's all about owning doors, you got 4 doors, just like you said, over time you can turn that into 8. The next thing you know, you own 300, 400 doors. Right. And, it's just all about getting our youth to think in that way and think about money in a different way than just having fun and putting that money to use and putting it to work. And that's what I got. And I wanted to add on to, you made great points on what tribal members should be doing with their per cap. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of people are set. They base their spending on what they bring in, right? So what would you suggest to somebody that has to use that $2,000 a month or their per capita towards bills the way their current financial situation is set up, right? Whether they've taken on debt that requires that $2,000 as part of their payment that they have to use towards. How would you suggest to a tribal member to start climbing out of that hole to where they can start investing? I think in my opinion, it's you got to get a grasp on it. You got to get a vision, a vision of where you're at financially and where you can start cutting back, right? And you have to stick to it.
I agree. I think it comes down to a budget. So when you run part of the tribal business or you run, the cannabis shop or whatever, whatever's going on there, you have a budget for that business. And like we know that let's just say that I make $70,000 a year, right? Okay, if that's my salary, that's a total. If my per capita, is $24,000 a year and my bonus is $12,000 a year, that means that I'm making $106,000 a year. That's my total income. So how much of that is groceries? Okay, well, I don't know. I gotta figure it out. If it's for, one person, what is it? A couple $100 a month? What is fuel? A couple $100 a month. What is dry cleaning? I don't know. $50 a month. What is my house payment or my mortgage? $2,000 a month. I gotta write all those things down. And I want to understand where my money is going. And then I want to put a system in place, and I want to say, okay, what I want to do next is I want to get a credit card. See, I'm a believer in credit. I'm a believer in utilizing and maximizing your credit. So I want to get a credit card. And then what I want to do is I want to take all my monthly expenses, and what I want to do is I want to put them on a credit card. And then when I get paid, I want to pay it off. So I carry zero balance. I want to carry zero balance on my credit card every month. And when I do that, I want to use a credit card that gives me rewards. I do that in my own personal life. So my kids, we just went to Disneyland. We flew first class. There's 5 of us. We stayed in a beautiful hotel and a beautiful suite. We went to Disneyland for 3 days. And do you know that we didn't pay $1 for the entire trip? Not $1 was spent. What we used was Expedia and the Expedia credit card. And we got the points from the card on our purchases for our groceries, for our bills, for the different things that we spend on. We saved it up for a year, and then we bought our airfare. We bought our hotel. We did everything with those points to take our family to Disneyland. We did the same thing the year before. The year before that, we went to Hawaii, but we never spent $1 doing it because we leveraged the credit cards that have the best points. American Express has amazing points on flights, right? There's many different things that you can do. So we want to look at that. And then what we want to do is we want to look at that budget and we want to say, okay, if my per cap is 36, that means that the most that I can spend on my bills is like, $22K. That's the most my bills in a year can be, is $22K, right? That means I'm going to save roughly $22K. I got to be able to put $22K into savings, right? And, I got to be able to live that way. And then I got to spend $22K, going out to the bowling alley or, going and buying fireworks because it's fireworks season. Right? Entertainment, yeah. Right? And so now that's $66,000. So, maybe it's $23,000, but I got to cut those things out. And I guarantee you that when you actually look at your budget and you look at what you're spending, you're going to be shocked at the things you spend money on. Stop going to KFC, like number one. Stop going to Taco Bell. Stop going to Burger King. Stop going to McDonald's.
My Uber Eats bill is nuts.
Uber Eats is a killer. Stop going to Starbucks, right? You know what I'm saying? Stop going to Starbucks. What is it? Starbucks is $5. I don't even think you can get a fully loaded drink anymore for $5, but we're just going to call it $5. If I go to Starbucks and I spend $25 a week, right? Then after 10 weeks, I've spent $250. After I've been through, 52 weeks in a year, I'm at like what, $1,200 just on coffee or something like that. If I smoke a pack of cigarettes a day, what is that? That's $70 a week.
What, $10?
$10 a pack, $70 a week, right? $280 a month, $3,000 a year just on cigarettes. Are you kidding me? What if I smoke weed? An eighth of weed is $40. I don't know. I think that's what it is. I don't know. But something like that. So let's say I smoke an eighth a day or an eighth every other day. Now that's more money that's gone. Now let's say I have some drinks. I go out to the bar. $200 at the bar is nothing. Right? Okay, now I did that. Okay, now I bought those rims. They were $5,000. They look flossing. I know they're going to get me that girl. No, not really. You know what I mean? Don't buy the rims. Put it away. You know what I mean? You don't need it. So look at what you need in life. Need versus what you want. And then when you save that little extra and you're putting that money away, you're living a happy life. You're living a fulfilled life. And then look at the bonuses around you. Look at everything you can do to take advantage of perks. There's perks all around you. Buy with points. Get the point systems. Do you get points for your fuel? Right?
Absolutely.
So all of those things help me live, and they help me do better. And like, I make my lunch, right? I'm a pretty successful dude. My lunch costs me 50 cents a day. Amy drinks coffee every day. Her coffee costs her 35 cents. Okay, you can have 2 coffees a day now. I think it's okay. Right? Dinner. What do we spend on dinner? $3, $4 a dinner. That's what it costs us to make dinner at home. What does it cost us to go to Taco Bell or McDonald's? Dude, McDonald's is $50. When I spend $50 at McDonald's, well, you go out and you buy some hamburger. Maybe you throw some eggs in it. Maybe you got some crackers in it. You make a nice little farm too, don't you? Got a nice little meatloaf. I do.
Yeah. Okay.
I got a little honey going on. Got a little my bee honey going on. But you look at the total grocery value and you look at what those things cost you.
Right.
And then what if I eat quick. What if mama goes and makes dinner and she makes a big old meatloaf, and let's just say she splurges and it costs us $8? I don't know. What if we eat that for 3 nights in a row? You know what I mean? Are you opposed to eating leftovers?
No.
I love my leftovers. My wife makes dinner pretty much every night, and there's always enough leftovers for the next night. So whatever that meal was, cut the cost in half. And guess what? We probably ate it for lunch that next day too. And it probably saved even more money. And that's how you get to that place in your budget where you can save money, you put things aside, but you can also live the life that you want to live.
I agree. It takes discipline, Discipline. And I challenge tribal members to, look ahead and don't rely on the tribe for everything. I know that a lot of the tribal members depend on that per capita, but try to look beyond the per capita, just like you said before. That's just try to look at that as extra money, right? How can I go out and provide for myself outside of the tribe? If the tribe's economy takes a poop one day, what are we going to do? You have to be prepared. You have to be ready.
It's true. I'll just end with this example. I bought an apartment building in Spokane. It was $454,000. That was the cost of the apartment building. It was a 6-unit apartment complex. That's all it was. $454,000. My down payment came straight from per capita. All I did was take those per capita checks, put them into an investment bearing account, collected the money, waited till I had the down payment, bought an apartment building. Today, that apartment building is worth $1.2 million in revenue. The rents are through the roof. And last year, my profit on the apartment building, on a 6-unit building, was over $60,000.
That's amazing.
I'm not getting that much from the per capita.
So the example there is suffer, put that money away for 3 years, and it's going to repay you tenfold every year after that. So.
Yep. And I bought that in maybe 2016.
Market was still pretty good then.
Yeah, it was pretty good then. It wasn't smoking, right?
No.
But it was good. The place needed some work. We put some work into it. But you think now that place is 8 years. We still have a small mortgage on it, maybe $150,000. But at the end of the day, we've got over $1 million profit if we go and sell that building. And then what we do is we take that building and we took it and we put it in our kid's name. So that building went into irrevocable life trust for one of the kids. And now guess what? If I get sued, if I lose my business, if I lose my life, if I totally screw up, nobody can ever touch it. It's an irrevocable trust for the kid. And now the kid has that. And guess what happens? When I'm gone and when I'm past, that passes to that child totally through that irrevocable trust. And now that those dividends, that money is coming to that child. And now that child has an asset that in 20 years will be worth what? 1.8, 1.9. It'll be still making that same amount every year. And now you're building generational wealth because now they're going out and buying their own apartments and their own buildings and their own things. And now you're building a true family empire. And if things do go sideways, you got something to fall back on. And any native can do it. Because I didn't grow up rich, right? I grew up poor, had rough life experiences. And so anybody can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
All right, my man.
Good
That's
stuff.
what we got for today. What else? What do you got? Final thoughts. Wrap us up.
Final thoughts, man. School is out. School is out. It's my daughter's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah. Princess Skylar. Happy birthday to my Princess Skylar. Skylar Love. So, yeah, I'm going to end with that. You know, we're going to have a go. She wants to go eat at Tokyo's.
All right, do it up. I have not.
Teppanyaki.
I don't know Tokyo's, but it sounds good.
It's delicious. But
It's awesome.
good stuff.
Happy birthday.
Right on.
All right, we're back next week. Next Wednesday, we're back live in action, having fun. Check us out. Give us a like, give us a share, drop your comments in the comment box. If you want to message me, chat with me, send me a direct message, a DM on LinkedIn. Follow me on the YouTube channel. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, anywhere it's social. I'm hanging out. And you're on all those too. So follow Ty on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Are you on TikTok?
I'm on TikTok.
All right, you're TikToking it. You're doing everything.
Yep, I'm there.
You're a savage.
Yes, sir.
All right. That was a great show. A lot of
Great
good
show,
information.
man. Very informative, man. I hope our youth were listening, and just know you can reach out to Dave. You know, he's a great resource. You know, he's a great resource for you. He's gonna make some time for you.
That's right. I'm gonna hook you up.
Right on. Well, have a good afternoon. We'll see you guys. We'll see everybody next week.
Yes, sir. Adios.
Hoy.